For what reasons is the Forest City project a failure? Well, an announcement on the megaproject was made in 2006, and investors from mainland China contributed to its funding. In addition to being linked directly to Singapore using its very own private road, which the residents of Singapore are permitted to use, its primary objective was to have practically all of its energy use come from renewable sources. Thus, the most significant issue was that most of the population was from mainland China, resulting in many foreigners. This group of immigrants found everything in Forest City suitable for them, including the use of education from the mainland Chinese, the utilization of their language, and more. However, these immigrants sparked an outcry among the inhabitants of Malaysia, which led to foreigners being allowed to purchase homes in Malaysia. Keep watching this video to learn more about the unsuccessful billion-dollar project in Malaysia. Throughout a history spanning just under 10 years, this private community located over the bay from Singapore has already struggled to overcome many obstacles, including regulatory concerns, political pushback, a pandemic that hit the whole world, and inflation. The Chinese-based company responsible for the development of Forest City, Country Garden Holdings Company, has refuted that the project is in danger and asserts that it is finally ready to flourish. Forest City is left with an unclear future due to the financial difficulties that Country Garden and other Chinese developers who are in debt are experiencing. These difficulties have sparked worries of a more widespread catastrophe that would take a significant portion of the world's second-largest economy. Southeast Asia's shores are dotted with many luxury real estate developments, but Forest City stands out due to its expansiveness and audacity. Country Garden's plans included the construction of 4 man-made islands in the narrow strait that separates Malaysia and Singapore, followed by developing an environmentally conscious metropolis that would attract a wealthy and diverse population from across the world. The structure's construction would take many decades, cost billions upon billions of dollars, and ultimately accommodate 700,000 people. Forest City will be around half the size of Manhattan in terms of its landmass and population, if Country Garden successfully implements its stated ambitions into reality. According to the developer's vision, the individuals who would live in Forest City would be those searching for a second house, a place to put their money, or both. Malaysia's consistently mild weather, relatively low cost of living, and proximity to Singapore, in addition to the fact that many other Asian metropolises are just a short flight away, were the primary factors that contributed to the city's popularity. During the beginning of 2014, Country Garden began the process of land reclamation. Soon after, the developer started bringing in prospective purchasers, most of whom were from China. During China's real estate boom, many people purchased condominiums in high-rise buildings that were still being constructed. One should expect to pay around $165,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. However, that is a significant amount for the average family in Malaysia, which has an annual income of almost $16,400. Nevertheless, it is inexpensive in comparison to Shanghai or Beijing. After just 6 months of construction, Country Garden decided to halt its island construction project, as Malaysian authorities alleged that the business had failed to do enough research on the project's environmental impacts. After that, the government of Singapore complained with Malaysian authorities, stating that it had not been notified and raised worry over the potential effect that Forest City may have on its neighboring border. In 2018, Mahathir Mohamad, who was serving as Prime Minister at the time, voiced his disapproval of the development, stating that it was built for foreigners and financially out of reach for most people in the nation. According to local news outlets, he was quoted as saying at the time, "They can buy the property, but we won't give them a visa to come and live here." Because of this, Country Garden started having conversations with the government on constructing certain houses specifically designed for Malaysians. In addition, the Chinese government's crackdown on Chinese residents who were interested in purchasing real estate outside of China made Country Garden's goals more difficult to implement. Those individuals who had already purchased condominiums in Forest City were afraid that the project would be unsuccessful due to its apparent concentration on Chinese consumers. In addition, Country Garden failed to make coupon payments on 2 bonds denominated in dollars. A number of commentators are on alert about a more widespread catastrophe in the real estate market because China's economy has already been shaken by developers dealing with large debt burdens. Due to the magnitude of Country Garden, formerly the largest real estate developer in China, and now has 3,000 housing projects, there are concerns that a crisis at the firm may swiftly spread across the economy. Despite all that has happened, Country Garden asserts that Forest City is not in danger. Siarul Izam Sarifuddin, an official at Country Garden, is quoted as saying, "We do not believe that this project is successfully completed. The developer has already constructed one of the 4 intended islands, as well as enough high-rises and bungalows to accommodate around 100,000 people, and all of this has been accomplished rapidly. A huge development that encompasses 700 acres and was finished in 7 years is something that you won't find anywhere else." 28% of the island's 26,000 residential units have been sold, according to his colleague Qiao Lipeng, who is the regional vice president of Country Garden. He also emphasizes that the development has resulted in the creation of significant employment in the region. According to Qiu, success may be interpreted in various ways. The city's 80% sale rate is a solid interim achievement, according to Edward Glickman, a former professor at the business school at New York University, who now consults for institutional investors. However, Glickman also notes that Forest City must also consider steep land reclamation costs, which most comparable developments do not. Although Qiu does not like to discuss details of its financial situation, there is no information that is readily accessible to the public that would enable an objective evaluation of the company's performance. Also, Forest City has not yet shown that it can develop into a real community. Siarul claims that individuals from 38 different nations hold property in this area, mostly Chinese residents. However, the act of owning property in a certain location is distinct from actually living there. Individuals who possess sufficient financial resources to own condominiums in a foreign country are likely to be absentee owners, in contrast to those who own just their home abode. Currently, the industrial park that Country Garden is constructing on the mainland immediately north of Forest City looks to have a low population density. Nevertheless, Qiu has said that soon the company would concentrate on attracting enterprises to the park. In addition, he highlights the success of the golf resort that Country Garden has constructed a short distance farther inland, which has 2 courses, each 18 holes in length. According to Qiu, it receives around 75,000 visitors each year. Several real estate brokers believe that Forest City would eventually attract residents from Singapore who are searching for more affordable rates. Also, Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim announced that Forest City would be designated as a special financial zone. This would provide residents with many advantages, such as multiple entry visas and fast-track access for skilled workers who commute to Singapore. Additionally, residents would be subject to a flat income tax rate of 15% for knowledge workers. Many people from many countries had been living, working, and breathing life into this metropolis that Country Garden's prior chairman had once referred to as a desired living paradise. Many of these people had been here for years, even throughout the epidemic era. Nevertheless, the individuals there claim that even though it is rather desolate, people still hang out there, and around 20% of the people live in the city. On the other hand, if you were to question all of the people who live there about their feelings regarding the failure of this project, they would respond by saying, "It would be better to be Ghost City than Chinese Communist City." Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below, whether you believe the reasons that have been revealed to you are the reasons why this project that cost $100 billion was unsuccessful, or if you have any additional information that reveals the truth about why this city was kind of abandoned. And that wraps things up. We appreciate you watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.